Talking with Tom Tillis of North Carolina, not South Carolina. And we're talking about the hearings that will be coming. Senator, I want to get a timeline clear in my head. The president is going to announce his nominee on Saturday. It is expected to be either Amy Coney Barrett, Joan Larson, Allison Rushing, maybe Barbara Lagoa, maybe Kate Todd. But I think it'll be a nominee who's been through the Judiciary Committee in the last 3 years. So they have most of the paperwork done. They'll have some decisions to add, et cetera. When will hearings begin? I know that's up to Lindsey Graham, but I'm looking at my calendar. 10 days later is Tuesday, October the 6th. That would seem to me to be enough time to get going. What do you think?
Well, that could be. And first of all, let me say, what a great group of judges to choose from. It's those five judges all bring something significant to the court. And you're exactly right, Hugh. The fact that they've been through the background check process means it's a relatively short period between the time they became a judge and today to see what needs to be updated, what might have happened in terms of background check, which is not, by the way, the same as the FBI looking at their opinions. The committee itself will have plenty of time to do that. Be up to Chairman Graham. My view of this have been this needs to take as long as it needs to take, but it doesn't need to take longer than it needs to take. And I think we're at the point in a legislative session to where most of our work is now behind us. We can really focus on this. I'd still like to see a COVID-19 relief bill. If the Democrats would look at even the bipartisan proposal in the House, we could get moving on that. But this will be something that we can focus on. I think the chairman has laid out an agenda that gets started about the time you suggested, and we'll have the time that normally a nominee is before the committee. And we'll see how the committee it conducts itself, particularly the Democrats on that committee.
If it starts on October 6th and the nominee testifies for 4 days, as is typical, it would conclude her testimony on the 9th, and we know it will be a she because the president has said so. That would then allow the 10th through the 31st for the Senate to debate and the rules regarding that debate to be followed. Will there be a vote on this nominee before the election, Senator Roy Blunt?
I believe there will. I believe there will. I think that we've got the time to do this. The members are prepared to have this debate and have this vote, and I think we'll have voted on this before the election, and voters can take all of that into consideration as they look at what they want to do moving forward.
Now, normally I would not be worried, but the late hit on Brett Kavanaugh, when Judge Kavanaugh, before he became Justice Kavanaugh, the hearings had ended, and then late charges arrived and they had to be reopened. The same thing happened to Clarence Thomas. I'm sure it will be attempted here, which is why I want an October 6th start and not an October 13th start. Has the conference discussed that with Chairman Graham, to whom it falls, correct? It's his decision.
It's his decision to when to have this, when to start those hearings. He'll make that decision. I actually think the Democrats are in some peril here if they have the same level of personal animus that developed in that hearing, and to some extent even in the Gorsuch hearing in this situation. I think you're going to have a nominee here who is incredibly smart, who has a level of personal humility no matter which of these people get chosen, who is in all likelihood a working mom. And, if they try that nonsense, I think it'll backfire on them. I'm not sure they'll be able to resist it, though. But we need to get these hearings started as soon as the background check is completed and then see where that takes us. But I think that takes us now to a vote in all likelihood before the election. And I think that's what we're expected to do. There's a lot of talk about, well, you didn't do this last time. As I said last time, unfortunately, I checked my comments on the Senate floor and other places. It takes two things to happen to put somebody on the Supreme Court. The president has to nominate, and the Senate has to agree. And in the cases where the president and the Senate have been of different parties, it's been 130 years since a person was put on the court if there was not political agreement between the White House and a majority of the senators. And in other instances, almost always worked out exactly the different way where you were able to go ahead in an election year and move forward. That's what we'll be doing this year. Since it takes two things for this to happen, and they're totally different than they were in 2016, because now you've got a Republican-controlled Senate and a Republican president. You don't have that division between the president and the Senate. Be wrong. I said at the time the president will likely want to name a nominee, and in fact, I think may be constitutionally obligated to name a nominee. I said in 2016, but the Senate has its own constitutional obligations, and one form of advice and consent is to say we are not going to consent, we are not going to do this, and we'll let there be a tiebreaker in this division between the Senate and the White House.
You know, the people who refuse to admit the history here, as Senator Cruz and you have just laid out, are simply being know-nothings. They're refusing. I'm concerned about a different kind of know-nothing, the anti-Catholicism of the know-nothings of the 1850s, and the anti-Catholicism that was voiced by your colleague, Senator Feinstein, even your Catholic colleague, Senator Durbin, Senator Hirono, and Amy Coney Barrett came before the committee. They questioned her commitment to dogma, the old saw that, you listen to Rome and not to the Constitution. Tom Tillis was just on. He's a Catholic. He said he would knock it down if it showed up again. Some Democrats are saying we can't be anti-Catholic. We've nominated a Catholic. That's, of course, a complete non sequitur as well. Will the Senate put up with any anti-Catholic witnesses or inquiries? Senator Roy Blunt.
Well, I would hope not. The Constitution specifically says no religious test, but what we've seen from Democrats on the Judiciary Committee is that ridiculous dogma comment from a really nice person. I can't imagine what got into Dianne Feinstein that she would verbalize that, even if she thought it. And then the Knights of Columbus, somebody was attacked because they were a member of the Knights of Columbus, which is a Catholic fraternal organization. There are other organizations in the Catholic Church that I guess would be equally offensive. And, it's been said, I'm trying to think, I suppose there's a good way to use the word dogma, but I've never heard it used in a good way. And I was thinking about that, Hugh, if you substituted dogma with faith, for instance, if you said the faith burns brightly in you, what a great compliment that is to a person of faith, and that would be any faith. But that is clearly not what was said, and it's been said, and it's clearly been out there. And I think they'll have a hard time attacking these nominees if they happen to be people of faith, and particularly the Catholic faith, without crossing a line that the American people will see as a bright line that shouldn't have been crossed.
You're referring to the nomination of Brian Boucher, who was a member of the Knights of Columbus, and that became a lightning rod, another anti-Catholic attack. And I just believe Democrats can't hide behind the fact that John Kerry was Catholic, Joe Biden is Catholic, Jack Kennedy is Catholic. If an anti-Catholic question gets asked, it's got to be slammed down as being a violation of Article 6 of the Constitution. There is no religious test in the United States acceptable.
That is exactly right, and many of us, including me, and I suspect you, have made that point when the ranking Democrat on the committee, Senator Feinstein, made that comment when Amy Coney Barrett was before the Senate the last time she was there for this circuit judgeship. The idea that you can't be a person of faith and be a brilliant jurist at the same time is just really ridiculous. I mean, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a person of faith, as many, I suspect all of the people on the court are, and none of them were asked a question like that when they were in the confirmation process. We've gone way beyond any rational discussion in this, and frankly, I think a lot of people may very well look back at the Kavanaugh hearing and wonder, oh my gosh, if people would say this about this candidate who will have great qualities, maybe they were way off base about everything that was said at the Kavanaugh hearing as well.
I think they will. Senator Blunt from Missouri, not Kansas. Thank you for joining me. I'm sure you root for the Chiefs, though. I know that,
I
Senator
do,
Blunt.
and the Chiefs are in Missouri too. So
I
there
want
you
people
go.
to know that. Senator Blunt, thank you.